Hey, how you doing? Let's do it to it. Right there. Hey, how you doing? Let's see here. If we take here and there, we win the rook ending. If here, here, there, and that goes up there. Oh, these chess puzzles are actually from chess.com. This is the Survivalist, and you're more than welcome to help if you'd like on the puzzles too. So if you have like if you see a line that I'm missing, you can type it in. This idea here is rotates b6, rotates b6, knight d5, which forks the two pieces, and you win it. So it comes down to a tactic. Because I'm trying to win the hourly one. It's you have to get at least over 41 problems solved right. So we're gonna try to win that, or get first in the hourly one. Um, hmm. Correct. Yes, that's right. It's not timed. Okay, let me see here. The idea is no, that's not strong enough. Let me see. I was thinking Queen D7. No, that's just not strong enough. Let me see. What else can we do? Oh, I have one. If we play E4, it unleashes the bishop onto the rook, which then to double attack. This is a double attack. It attacks the bishop and then attacks the rook. Let's see if we play rook, queen takes rook, queen takes rook, rook takes queen, rook takes, and then pawn takes. We pick up a piece. So it's all about proper trading down, or as Grandmaster Joel Benjamin says, liquidation at the right moment. Let me see here. D5 is an interesting line, but there's actually an even stronger move. Do you see the even stronger move? There's one move that's even stronger than that. I'll give you a second to take a look at it. Visualize, I'll give you a hint. Visualize a fork. I'll do this. Think fork. What move would be a fork here? Yeah. Yep, there you go. Yeah, good job. That's right. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that would be. Let me see. Does he have any moves he could go to? Knight F3. It does have. Let me see here. It does have. I guess Queen H1 would be. And if he tries. He can. I think he can play Bishop takes. I think Bishop takes actually is winning. I'm wondering if D4 isn't anything at this point. I'm just trying to figure out because I noticed that he has a soft point on C7. So if we play D4 and if he moves, we'll say, yeah, yeah, yeah. This now D4. Sorry, Knight C7 actually forks King and Rook. But is there anything more? Just trying to figure out if there's anything more we can get out of this position. I don't think so. Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything besides? No. We just win material. Yeah. Sometimes I always want to make sure because they give you ideas like when you get to a certain level in the puzzles, like 20 and above, they'll give you two choices to go down, and one of them is better than the other one. So yeah, you always got to take a second when you get to like the close to the middle of the 20s, because it actually stuff starts either heating up with tactics. So let me see here. Okay, I'm thinking rook g6. Yeah. Let's see here. Nope. Too optimistic. That wins the queen. Rook h4 wins the queen. Just checking really quick to make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. See, it gave you two choices. You had the ability to move two rooks. Which rook was the correct one was the idea. And it teaches you to I think they're teaching you how to juggle two ideas, and like what Alekhine, I think it was Emmanuel Lasker said, if you have one idea, see if you can find a second one. So I always and if the second one isn't the right one, but the first one is, go with the first one. But he says it's always good to try to find a second one. Let me see here. Is it knight d4? Knight d4, rook. Yeah. And then now you can jump into e2. That forks the king and the rook on c1. Is there any sacrifices that we can do? And this doesn't work, so only move that actually has any play is knight takes rook at that point. I'm thinking about trading off bishop, knight takes bishop, rook takes, then knight d7 check, king moves, and then knight b6. But see, this is the line I was thinking about. Knight takes c8, rook takes c8, knight d7 check, and then king e6. And knight b6 I think wins. I think that line wins. Yeah. And then what'll happen after b6, the rook will take and you'll be up in exchange. And here the rook will take the pawn and then you take the rook and you're up in exchange, and that wins. Um, hmm. Let me see here. So bishop takes knight. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5. I think we're down in exchange at that point. But and we have a nice pin right here, so that's nice. Just trying to see, can we work with that pin at all? We might be able to if we take here, and it doesn't take. Let's see, takes here, takes there. Okay, we can't play that because bishop takes. It's not fun. What am I overlooking here? Let's see. Let's see, rook takes. If rook takes. bishop, let me queen h4, but that doesn't make much sense. I'm not seeing something here. I know it has to do with some sort of a fork here. This pin here is when it moved. You always Grandmaster Maurice Ashley talks about in one of his chess-based tapes, the Aikido principle. You always got to ask yourself after a piece moved, what did that piece leave behind? And you have to. That's a question you can ask. And sometimes you can make a plan by like that this is no longer guarding. Yeah. Rotates. Rotates. Boy, this will be sad if it's something like straightforward. Um, I'm wondering if it's not knight f5. Thinking, let's see, knight f5, bishop takes e5, knight h6 check, and something like that. Yeah, I was looking at that, but do we have enough for the exchange though? Oops, I have to space that one out a little bit. I didn't give it enough space. And then if g takes h6, then you have well, I guess that wouldn't work, would it? That'd be a horrible move. Okay, my bad. That's not the best move. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, bishop takes the knight, bishop takes, bishop takes rook. But do we have enough compensation for that? I'm wondering if it's basically just getting out of a pin. So maybe we have, maybe like what we were just talking about, rook takes e8, check. I know that some of these moves are really just all about like rook takes, and then after rook takes e8, maybe just plain old queen h4. I know this. I know it's we're equal material, and we're holding our own. I'm thinking it's something to do with that. 3 for 2. Yeah. But see, they would have a let me see, bishop there. They would have I guess, yeah, you're right. I guess, well, let me see here. Let me see if bishop here, bishop, sorry, my bad. First, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. He's got 2 rooks and a bishop and a queen. They actually have more material than we do. So, are you saying that this is the correct move here? Knight, bishop, and rook? How do you win the knight, bishop, and rook? I see here, there, there. I see that if, let me see, bishop takes f6. Yeah, bishop takes f6. Um, bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Is that kind of the idea? But we don't have an attack on the rook anymore. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, that was oh yeah, the bishop takes the yeah. Oh drat, I should have seen that. Yeah, this is the idea here. Yeah, you were right. That's beautiful. Nice. Yeah, that one. And then what it is let's just say he plays rook. We'll just say he moved the rook. We'll say he moved the rook. Bishop takes f7 would have forked the king and rook. Yeah, after that line, I don't remember where the rook would move, but we'll just say one of the rooks moved. You can actually win a pawn and win material, so yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, let's see here. This wins it's this right here. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d1, bishop b5, check, queen d7, bishop takes d7, king takes d7, and then rook takes d1. Let's see here. If knight e6, not knight e6, if rook e7, if king f8, knight e6, let's see, so rook c8, oh no, you're right, yeah, that's right. So oh sorry, rook e7, yeah, that's the check. I mean, rook e7, king there, 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 and there, there, and I'm thinking that would be mate there. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, what did we miss? Huh. No, it's okay. That's different. We'll have to go over that one after this. Let's see, what do we got here? We're only 12 away, so we can get this. Not a problem. I think we could pick up a piece with rook takes b3, rook takes b3, a takes b3, king takes e6, and that wins a piece. Yep. Okay. This one is basically a survival to get our king over to the corner. So king e1, king d3, king d1, e2, king e1, king c3, and then we basically we go to king to a1, and that draws. Okay, hoping this is right. Let me see here. King e1, even if he goes king, let's see, king e1, king c3, king e2, king b3, king takes, e takes, takes. Well, I guess there, 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 and there. Okay, yeah. I'm thinking king e1. That's the only way to maybe. Oh boy, these some of these end games are really interesting because I know this is a draw. I just have to place the king right. I was looking at king d1, king c3, king e2, king over, takes, takes, takes. Yeah, but we can do it. And here, and then we come up and we got him trapped. So we can keep him trapped. I'm thinking king e1. I'm gonna go king e1. King e2. King e1. It was a drawn endgame. Yeah, you have to learn about the triangulation trapping the king. A really good endgame book is Jeremy Silman's Endgame course. Well, it's a huge. It's the back, in my opinion, one of the backbones of chess. Yeah. If bishop takes d5, the knight. See, bishop takes d5. knight takes c3. So we may have to throw an in-between idea in. I'm thinking about throwing in rook takes c6, check, king takes c6, bishop takes d7, king takes d7. Am I missing something? I think I'm missing something here. Maybe I have check first. Maybe I bring my other rook over. Maybe it's after rook takes c6, king takes c6, rook. I think rook c2 check. If king b7, then bishop takes c7. I think we'd be up material because of our pawns. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Now the rook check is winning. And then you can actually win the rook at that point. You're up like 3 pawns at that point. This is an interesting move because it's an endgame. Rook f6. If rook takes f6, king f6. King takes f6. King e8. Maybe that is a draw. Let me see. Rook e6, king takes e6, king. Nope. Yeah, that does win. Yep. Rook f6 wins. Yep. So you take here, king takes, and then he has to give way. It gives way. Yep. You got it. Let's see. Here, 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 here. Queens, queens. And there's no way to stop. So if we take, let's see, takes there, 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 queen check, and we win. Yep, takes. Oh, no. Oh, what did I do? I should have moved my king. That was my fault there. Drat. That was silly. I should have went with my first idea. I thought that if I walked up the board I could check, but his pawn was too close to queening. Oh, I should have moved the king. Drat. I got to refocus down now. Yeah, this one is queen h1 check, rook h2, knight f4 check, g takes f4, and then queen f3 is mate. If you come here, rook comes over there, which threatens mate, after pawn takes, and then you come back and it's checkmate. I think that just put it in really quick to just check one time to see. The problem with checking right away now is the king can go to h2, and then that throws a kink in the works. The only way to actually make, so he can go to, if you played knight f4 check, he could go to king king h2, and then there's no more checks. So it would be this queen h1, rook h2, knight f4, threatening mate, pawn takes. Yep. And then that's mate. Okay. Ouch. I think it's queen queen g4, queen g4, because queen g4 covers the pawn on g7, and then it attacks the knight, and the bishop's still on pre. Oops. Okay, first you take the bishop. After knight takes, then you grab with check. Or, yeah, because you don't, yeah. C2. I was wondering if we could propose this. B takes, yeah, B takes C3, check, B takes C3, rook B7. If bishop A2, then rook takes B2, check. Rook B7 would be my next idea. And if he goes back to A2, then rook comes in and it forks the king and bishop right here. If rook b7, he's also got bishop takes d5, rook takes d5. King e8 or e1, rook takes d8-1, king takes d1, rook check, king comes up, and then you win the whole entire house. So yeah. Now we can actually pick up a rook here. I think we have mate in 3 here. You have to see the rook takes f2, king takes f2, queen. No, I don't think that. Queen h4, then rook g3. I think that throws a kink in the works, so that doesn't turn out the way we want it to. Zero g3 here. Let me see if I can continue this out just a little bit further. Bishop takes c3. Yeah, I'm thinking that's right. I'm hoping this is right. Let's see. We'll just 1 second. So bishop takes h6, queen d3, knight c5, queen f3, bishop d7. Maybe bishop takes h3 at that point, and then rooks. I'm trying to figure out, because we have to get this set up just right. Oh, that is true. Wait, what am I thinking? Bishop, after bishop h6, queen there, bishop f4. But wouldn't we just be equalizing at that point? Let me just be equalizing. Trying to so queen h6, king d3, knight c5, queen f3, bishop takes h. Oh, knight b4. Interesting. So knight b4. Knight b4. Okay, so queen. Let me try this again. Queen h6. queen d3, knight b4, queen f3. Oh, my mouse is having a little hiccup again. Just hold on. Come on. Alright. Yep, good job. Okay, we're that was a tough one. See, they get tougher the more you go in. Okay. Yeah. Now we have a discovery here. Yeah. Truly long sequences. Let me see. I'm looking at potentially. I know this. It's a discovery. So knight e3 check. If king goes to d2, which would be a mistake, you do have knight takes d5. So that wins material. So knight e3. The idea is king b2, rook c2 check. King b3. Wow, king b3. And oh, I guess we could play at that. No, that doesn't work. Ah, drat. I was thinking that, but that doesn't work. That check doesn't work. Maybe we also have a bishop check, which is kind of an interesting line here. We do have a bishop check, so we gotta look at bishop b2 check. If king c2, knight e3 check. King takes b2. Knight takes. I don't think that works. That doesn't work. It's the coordination of three pieces. Coordination. I'm thinking it might be knight takes a5 check. If king knight takes a5 check. Yeah. And if king b2, rook c2 check, king. Well, then that can't be. Well, if king b1, rook takes f2 check, and then he goes back and forth, and we set up a wheelbarrow. if knight takes a5, let's just go down the line really quick one more time. Let's check and see if he goes king d2, king d2, knight b3, check, king e2, rook e8, check, king f3, Hey, how you doing? That's good to hear. Yeah, we're trying to get to, see, 41's the number one right now. We're trying to get to 41. So if you see any lines, because we have the ability to we have a discovery. So knight e3, king b2, oh yeah, that wins material. Yep. Now only move is I forgot that forks king and bishop, so he can't go there. He's got to go d2. Let's see, if rook c2, check, king e1. Yep, you got it. That's a free rook for sure. See here. See, takes there. On d1, rook takes d1. I mean, knight takes d1, not rook takes. Knight takes d1, king takes d1, rook takes f2, and we're up a clear piece. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything better. No, I don't see anything better than takes there. Yep. Was not a fun one. Got to be careful of not stalemating our opponent. We have to somehow keep our H pawn on the board. Let me see. How can I? How could? Because I've seen a mate very similar to this before. There's a checkmate here I know somewhere. Well, maybe it is stel. No, it wouldn't. Could it be stalemate? Let me see. Pawn takes there. King takes, back, push, takes. Maybe it is stalemate. I know we have a stalemate for sure in that one. I'm just looking to see, do we have a win at all? I've seen a puzzle like this before, so I'm wondering if it's not, let me see if it's not g6. I know this sounds silly. F takes g6. King takes f6. G5. King f5. G4. H takes G4 as mate. Well, I got that one puzzle wrong like a multitude of times, and I made it my goal that to not get that one wrong again. And so I guess when you make it your goal, you you remember it. Because I remembered it. That just it seemed you were right though. There was a stalemate, but you always gotta sometimes take a second and see if there's a win. Well, I appreciate that, but I have to always I can't take credit for it because it's a gift the Lord's given me, and um, it's all the study times that we had with Team Chess Cruncher. So we worked together and we improved on getting better at those. But I appreciate the comment. Let me see here. Okay, stay focused. Oh, we're so close. I think I got it. I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna write it in. See what you think. 92. Check. If king, we'll say king f1. Knight d4. Bishop would go to e4, and then f5, I think, and that wins a rook. We're gonna go because we're so close to 41. If we can get to 41, I'm not sure. We may get second place for the 2 hour. I mean the 1 hour survivalists. So I'm really working hard. I don't want to make any mistakes at this point. We're so close. Knight h2. Let me see there. Yeah, I'm thinking that's right. Oh, I'm hoping it's right. Oh no, 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 no. F4 is wrong. It's wrong? Oh, my rook. Oh, my rook. I should have moved the rook over. Oh, drat, I missed this over here. Oh, drat. Oh, so close. I should have looked at that. I grabbed the second one. That's okay. No, that was my fault there. Well, we'll get another shot at it. Don't worry. No, we're not going to do it now. We got to go over some of our lesson. Let's see. Yeah, there. Oops, not there. Sorry. There we go. So it's this here first, and then you bring the other knight in. It covers the rook and mate. And it's actually getting the king involved. We saw that one, so that was a important one. This one was sad. We were so close to solving it. Check, check, and then rook e1, and that wins on the spot. Because the reason the other one doesn't work is when he comes back. If we played f5, I missed that rook. Rook a8 is a problem there. So let's see how we did. We're probably like third in the world. Let's see. Oh wow, they really that really went up. 12th, not bad. Well, there was somebody who got 49. Wow. All right, let's get on to some of our studies. We'll get on to we're gonna do a Magnus Carlsen. We've been working in this book. I'll show you so you can know what we're doing. We've been doing the end game. And if you have any questions on the end game, I know end game kind of is one of those that you have to know, but because some of the positions are so similar, it seems repetitive, but it's important to keep that in mind, that you always have to have a strong end game. It's where when you reach a certain level, I have to set it for black, you're going to be getting into end games. You have to have some end game knowledge on board. Yeah. It's just my teacher told me about that, so I was like, you know what? If my Grandmaster teacher told me that, then I'm going to listen and take it to heart. And so we studied mini and end games. Yep, we are on the right track for sure. I just want to make sure that oops, I forgot a bishop. That would be helpful. And if you want to go over, I have some endgame courses on business law, you're more than welcome to go into the studies and take a look at all the studies we have that we're working on. Okay, perfect. Let's head on in. Okay, I had to make a second Magnus Endgame because of I ran out of space on Lichess. Okay, so it's gotta, let's see, BORKI. Oops, VIC. Gotcha. I'll make sure I spell the person's name right before I start, so don't worry. If I spelt it wrong, I'll go back through and fix it. Let's see, ILL. Let me make sure I have this spelled right. I'm gonna check the person Magnus face. Okay, correct spelling so far. So good, so good. Okay, perfect. Everything's good. Let's make sure the place that he played at was right. Yep, perfect. Okay, we are good to go, and let's do it. Yep. All right. Okay. Of course, Magnus is black, so we're gonna have to rotate the board or flip the board. And I will ask you a question because this is an exclam move. Black is Magnus Carlsen. What move? Oops, I gotta enlarge this board a little bit. What move would you say would be an exclam move for black? So black to move. And it's an exclam. So black to move, exclam. I'll give you a little bit of time to go over it. I'll be right back. So I'll give you a second. Magnus is black, and just see if you can find an exclam move, a good move for Magnus. not sure. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Yeah, that is an interesting idea. Bishop takes is an interesting idea. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about winning material. Um, you're on the right track with bishop takes f2, but you have to set up for that. So what move would be a good setup move for bishop takes f2? What move would be a good setup move for bishop takes f2? You have to prepare it. Sometimes you have to take a second. Yeah, that's right. Nice job. Knight e4, perfect. E5 is an interesting move too. That's an interesting move, but the only problem is, excuse me, knight could actually take on e5, and then if you take back, then you're down a pawn, and now you can't. Oh, castle queen. I don't think. Oh, pin. Okay. Then you have f4 at that point. You have f4 at that point. And I know what you're thinking. What if you try knight g4, right, to set up for that? Yeah, that's an interesting idea. And so what you could play is bishop. He might play. Your opponent might play bishop e2, and then after knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes. It's an equal position, and so I don't think anyone is really better here. So it would potentially end into a draw because white has majorities on the queen side and black has majority on the king side, so it would basically, at the level that these players are playing at, Magnus and his opponent, would end up a draw. Yeah. E4 is actually an interesting move. It's kind of it's a prophylactic idea. One second, gotta get a drink, and then I'll explain 1 second. What you're doing is you're preparing the ability to potentially go like f6 and then e5, or and I think more likely, let me see if the bishop goes back. Let's see. Oh, knight g5. Wow, knight g5 is what was played. He opts to open. So knight g5. Wow. Okay. Bishop. Knight takes g5. Okay. Bishop takes g5. And then f6. So Magnus is playing for a small edge here. His small edge is his huge majority on the king side, where the majority on the queen side is almost 0 to none of a problem for Magnus, because even if he plays here, you could just retreat the bishop back. You're the one with the majority of the attack. White doesn't really have any development. And even if rook slid over to, we'll say, d1, the king could go to e7 and you're fine. So f6, bishop e3 would be played, trying to exchange pieces. The more pieces that come off the board, the closer you're going to get. You're going to dwindle down to a draw. So bishop takes and f takes. But now we have you had it. You had the bishop. The bishop takes f2 was Correct. And we just had to set up for the right move. Yeah, you're fine. You did great. But we have a change in the setup now. What does the engine do against e4? Um, let's see, really quick. Hold on, hurry, come on. Get to the very end. Alright, it's saying knight b d4. And then takes, oops, knight takes, and basically bishop d7 at that point. And something similar to that. But after we talked about f takes back here, when the bishop took, the pawn took. Now Magnus has a new plan that he can take advantage of. This pawn right here is going to be a problem for white, because it can only be defended by a piece or the king. It doesn't have a fellow soldier to give it support in the fight to come. So Magnus is more likely going to try to trade maybe these bishops off and see if he can't take scope on the pawn. This queen, the middle is pleasant for black. Of course, one has to work to put extra pressure on e3. That's what the author was talking about. So first of all, the king goes to e7. Yeah, king e7 is a important move here. So what you're wanting to do, what you're wanting to do is Grandmaster Simon Williams has a French defense or a killer French setup idea. I mean, not setup idea, but a what is it? A video that he has, and he talks about the zigzag of the light square bishop. You can actually do a the zigzag of the light squared bishop for white if you wanted to. You go d7, but it's more of a closed position. Where this is closed, you potentially could do that if you didn't want to move your knight. Yep. The stone wall can can transpose from the French defense. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Oh, darn it. Darn it. Hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. About this. Hold on. I didn't know there was going to be castling in here. I apologize. Just 1 second. I have to reset this up really quick. I'm sorry. He actually had castling in here. This is my fault here. I'll have to remember to do that, even if it's endgame a lot for castling. I didn't think that he could castle, but he actually can. That's not good. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Okay, black to move. I have to make sure I have it all set up now. I appreciate your patience. Forgot to put castling rights on. Okay, so it's black to move. We'll make a study again. I already have the other one downloaded, so it won't take long. You just have to delete this here, delete chapter, and then you come in and you do this one here. We got it. Save. We're right as rain. Let's get the board turned, and then we'll get the right one now. And we talked about that the best idea that the engine was saying was knight bd7. So bishop takes, knight takes, takes, and then Magnus has a target that we were talking about that the engine could find. And we also talked about that this move here would, if you took, you'd be down a piece. And so we're on the right track now. We got everything put back in. So bishop takes, f. He comes back here. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and king e7. Now we got castles. So castle queenside. Now we're good. Thank you. Okay, so knight e5, and is an interesting idea. Yeah, knight e5, a bishop e2 here, with the idea of trying to support. What you're trying to do is support the attack, the push of this pawn, because now it's only supported, and you have to get your rooks connected. So this is a middle game. It's kind of weird, odd. They're in an end game, but their pieces really haven't developed very much. So it's kind of like a quasi end game. Bishop d2, d7. Now we're attacking the knight. So if we wanted to, we could potentially win that knight. Knight d4. Now it has an not an outpost fully, because there's a pawn that can kick it out with e5. Rook a c8. Now this pawn is pinned, so he's looking to potentially outpost also a knight on c4, and then he's going to try to take scope on this pawn. So he wants to get a knight to c4. The knight c4 is a vital outpost. He's looking to put a rook on c4 instead, and then exchange off after the bishop takes. After bishop takes, put a rook on c4, and then potentially double up and play e5 and take advantage of the weak e3 pawn. Okay, perfect. So rook d2 was actually played. Excuse me. And then rook c5. This is an idea of getting the h8 to c8. Rook hc8 would be an idea that would potentially be playable. Rook hd1. So now white has doubled their rooks hc8, like what we talked about. So everybody is taking scope on each other's king. So it's almost Royal Rumble time for an attack here. Let me see here. So knight to f3. And we would really like to take, but that would be a mistake. So we have to first play this move here, and if our opponent actually went b3, What's the winning move here for black? It's a winning idea. It wins material. Do you guys see the move? This didn't happen in the game. I'm just going to show you if you had an opponent that hurried and made and thought, oh yeah, I'm going to attack your bishop. What can you win here? What's the winning move? Do you guys have any ideas what the winning move is for black? Rook takes c3 would be the winning line, so he can't dash. Our opponent can't play b3. So this is actually a really strong, powerful move because that forces the rook to e1 now, which does allow, rather than Magnus doesn't want to exchange off pieces, because if he took knight takes f3, the g pawn would take back. So this would actually support the center pawns, and you really don't want to do that. That would ruin his attack. But you're saying he doesn't he have h2 now that's under attack? Yeah, but the rooks can guard that a lot easier than the center. So Magnus played knight to f7, keeping more minor pieces on the board offers more chances to outplay your opponent in this line. So Magnus wants to outplay his opponent, and so White plays c4, trying to cramp down and play b3 pretty soon. This gains space, but the pawn also becomes there's another target that Magnus could attack. Bishop to c6, and this is to attack and also bring the bishop to e4, and he doesn't want to have to move the bishop with tempi, so he kind of already does that. Now b3 gets played, and this cements White's structure for the time being. This does put, if we traded off the rooks, the knights, we traded these off, this does put targets for the light square bishop though. So there's like out of the 6 pawns, 4 of them are on light squares, so you can then take scope on that. b3, knight d6. This is, we're trying to outpost our knight to e4. King b2, and let me make sure I have this right. King b2 and knight d4. I say knight d4. Oh, I'm sorry, a5. Yeah, that was my... Well, I appreciate that. But remember, it's... that's nice. I appreciate that. But you know what? I couldn't do it without Team Chess Cruncher again. I always got to remember that we're a team. And the whole point of course, Magnus always wants to gain space. So a5 is a critical move. It stops his opponent's thrust, so he's going to have to actually weaken his position with A3 and B4, and I don't. That just weakens the king a lot. So this is actually a way to clamp or stop the pawn onslaught. Knight d4 was played here, and if he could, I guess if white could take the bishop, would that really change much? I don't think so. With this pawn in the center, it's somewhat of a close game, so it would be favorable to the knights. I don't think white would exchange. That would be a very bad idea. You want to keep your pieces there. But let's see what happens in the game. So this time he changes. Let me see. Oops, I gotta make sure. D4. Okay, bishop E8. Remember what we talked about in the the French defense, that we have the ability after we play F and then of course C5 and F, that sometimes you could transport the bishop over to the king side. This is kind of a way to do that. Is you're able to Magnus may want to play bishop G6, and that keeps more minor pieces on the board. So again, it says keeping more minor pieces on the board makes things a lot more problematic, in my opinion, for Magnus. I mean, not Magnus, but his opponent. Again, they're doubling up again, so it only makes sense. Bishop F. Let's see. Rook E5 here. Remember that becomes a target. E3. So you always got to remember that grandmasters look for targets, and at the moment the target is E3, and that's why Magnus played, of course, rook E5 to attack E3. Bishop F, F3. This takes scope on the pawn on B7. I'm surprised he actually did that. Doesn't that lose material? Wow. Knight E4 was actually played here. Interesting. So he wants to go into a imbalance of bishop versus knight. That's different. This time he changes again. So Magnus is constantly, if you notice, changing the position. When you think he's going to take the pawn, he doesn't. It's like, wow. But remember, there's more to a position than just the material. Sometimes keeping it closed actually helps your position. Even though it looks like, oh, he made a mistake. You made a mistake. Your opponent might think that because you didn't take this pawn, but down the road you're actually gaining more through the position than actually the pawn or piece. So bishop takes the knight. So now we're going into a as Jeremy Silman would say, a imbalance. Magnus has a light squared bishop where Magnus's opponent only has a knight. So if we can get rid of the pawn in the center, this bishop in theory dominates the knight, because in an open board when there's pawns on both sides, a bishop is superior to a knight. But if there's pawns on one side of the board, like if these pawns were taken off and these pawns were taken off and there was a black pawn here, this knight would be superior to the bishop. So you gotta remember there's times when pieces are superior minor pieces. Yeah, that's right. And that those are just things that you pick up from studying endgames that you start seeing, and that's why I know I'm favoritive to Jeremy Silman, but his endgame course is incredible for a beginner. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You got it. And that's the idea. Rookie one here is now that's the more pieces that come off the board, also the weaker the isolated pawn gets. So rook c5, and this actually gets an exclam move from oops, I have to put it hold on just one, actually I'll take care of that later. I'll put exclam on the first move later, but we want to go over this. He improves his, there's no reason right now to move the bishop. The bishop is doing actually a good job guarding a lot of the squares where the rooks would want to infiltrate into. So he just develops his rook and says that on rook c5 I do have the ability to swing along the fifth rank, and there is a target on h2 that potentially could come under fire. There's also a target on e3 that could come under fire too. So now there's two targets that Magnus is going for. Knight c2 to guard it another time, this time with the knight, so that the rook on e1 could basically be free to move. You try in chess, when you're defending, you want to defend with the minimum material and attack with the maximum. That's what you'll learn from a lot of the grandmasters. They defend minimally, but they attack maximally. One sec, gotta get a drink of water. Just one sec. Okay, so e5. And now if Magnus wanted to, he could put his bishop on f7 and then try to undermine the position. So bishop f7 and a4 potentially could happen. I've seen many of endgames that we're studying where Magnus outposts a bishop, like right here, and you think, man, isn't it biting on granite? Then the next move you see is a4, and you're like, that's not too fun now, because you're going to start shredding the king side's protective shield away, and that's not fun to have happen, especially when you're dealing with the world champion Magnus Carlsen. I know everybody makes, as I like to say, mistakes, but you don't want to give Magnus an attacking position because he will go for it. So knight a4, or a3, sorry, and this is so that the knight, I guess maybe he wants to come here. And he wants to go to a3. Yep, that, yeah, I thought about that was a pretty good word, because there was a chess engine called Shredder, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. It's an old, really old engine. It's really, really old. Compared to the ones now, it's like tiny. But it was interesting. Let's see, rook g4. Interesting. Wonder what is the, oh, maybe, whoa, what is that's peculiar. and then b1. Maybe it's to try to get a knight to c3 and then play e4, and then defend that way and try to outpost. Yeah, that's kind of, some of these moves are really, yeah. Yeah, he's just looking for tons of weaknesses, yeah. Some of these I don't understand till they actually arrive, and then I'm like, that was a brilliant move. That was a really good move. Yeah, b5 here. Compound, boom. Yeah, and this is an exclam idea. The shield is starting to dissolve now around the king. C takes, d. Now the bishop comes in. Now with great furiosity, the bishop's coming in. This is a beautiful diagonal. I like this. Has a lot of teeth to it, this diagonal. It's a lot better than this one. I was looking to, thought he might play here, but there's not enough attacks. This has more immediate problems for white along here. And so knight c3, trying to trade off the bishops. Bishop c6. Now the idea of rook g4 comes to the idea, yeah. Yeah, now the now we get to see why rook g4 was planned. It was so that the bishop would be able to go to c6 and then double attack the pawn. They do show their ideas eventually. Black has somewhat of a better prospect, as white can't create any queenside passed pawns anymore, and where black's kingside, there's more chances because of this isolated pawn to create a passed pawn in the center, even if Magnus wanted to, and then take care of that. Yeah, and that's the impressive. Like now e4 happens. I thought this might happen because what they're trying to do, Magnus' opponent, is trying to stop the kingside onslaught that's going to be coming up the board. But this again is a drawback because it puts it on a light square which could be attacked by the bishop. So not the best of the ideas there. But it's kind of one of those, if you have an idea that's not going to ruin your position. Oops, 1 second, wrong pawn. h5 is the one I want. Naturally, Magnus does not pass up the chance to gain more space. So a3 with the idea of trying to create a passer. h4, more space. Rook e3, trying to stop. See, Magnus wants to, if the rook hadn't have moved, let's just say we play here, 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 and let's just say we double up here. Magnus would actually not be too upset about playing h3 here, and if takes, then you have rook h4, and this pawn ends up becoming a problematic idea. And also you could actually potentially just come over here and then set up for connecting passers, and these pawns aren't really any threat. So that's why the white played rook d3, was so that they can play e3, rook e3 next, and then try to stop the doubling of these pawns. Because white's holding on by, as I like to say, toothpicks of his foundation. His foundation's collapsing. So a3, h4, rook e3. Okay, king e6. Now we're going to start to see some nice king maneuvers. Rook e1. Let me see here. What? Rook e1. Rook a1. Wait a second. What did I do? Uh-oh. My bad. I did the wrong. Not d3. Rook e. Sorry, rook e3. Promote. This was the move. Oh, sorry about that. I knew there was something awry. So here, and then rook e1. So now Manus's opponent is sorry about the wrong move of the piece, but Manus's opponent is kind of stuck right now. They can't make any progress. G6 exclaim, and of course I know you see what Manus's idea is. F5 next, pawn takes, and you soon will be able to have connected passers. So our idea that we talked about is building. F5, there we go. And then he played, I don't understand why I played that. That was actually a dubious, it actually helped. You don't want to help your opponent. No. G takes, and then pawn g3. And I will I wanted to give you, your black, your Magnus, because this is a kind of a tough one. You're black to move, and it's an exclam. So black to move, exclam. Just take a quick glance at this and see if you can spot. It's a long distance move. You have to think full board vision here. This is an amazing move, a truly amazing move. Okay, not a problem. If you need any hints, just tell me. Like if you if you need a hint, because it's important to see this move. It's like a very critical for the position. It's really odd. It's an odd move, but it's important. It looks like, does it actually work? Yes, it does. So now, if you need some more time and you're watching this on a recording, like because I have a YouTube for Chess Cruncher, and you're watching this, just stop it if you need some time to just go over these positions, because it's important to solve them, because you're going to get into a you may someday get into a position like this that you have to find this move. A4. That is an interesting move, but The actual move is, you want to give it, you want to try one more time? Want to give it one more time, or would you like me to show you? Yep, there you go. Nice job. Nice job. That's the move. Nice work. That's an exclam. He actually vacates this whole file so that the rook, if it needs to, can actually come down and come to like c7, c8, swing over to h8. All these, yeah, it's an amazing actually move. And his opponent played e2, 92, and Magnus played another. I'm going to give you another opportunity for an exclam move. Want black to move again. Black to move and exclam. I'll just copy this so I don't have to put it in again. It's another exclam move for Magnus. This one is more of a positional. King f6. Yeah, I'll show you because rook d5 is a more of a positional move, because what you're doing is, you're right about getting the king involved, so you have the right idea, but this gets the king involved with tempo, because if the rook takes, the king could take, and then therefore you can get the black king is closer to the center, so it's more of a positional endgame. Exchange of rooks helps black. So rook c2 was actually played by Magnus's opponent. That was a mistake, big time. He's going to regret that. Bishop e4 now. Now the bishop comes back and it's attacking the rook. So this is attacking with tempi again. Rook c4, another mistake here. He allows rook d2 check, and the white's position slowly falling apart. It's almost resignable here, it's getting close to that. Rook a2. Let me see. Rook a2. Hold on. What did I? Oh, king c1. Sorry. He's in check. Rook a2 here. It's getting close to a resignable almost, because once you get a rook on the second like this, all you have to do is set up properly for rerouting potentially this rook back, coming over, and then a back rank mate. You don't want to have that happen, not when you're in such a tight position like that as white. h3. This is his last ditch attempt, white, saying, just go away, just leave me alone. You know, h3 is like saying, here, just go away. You know, I have a sword, I'm gonna hurt you with it. And he's like, no. Rook takes, kaboom. That's a huge move right here. Exclam, because if he takes here, you take back, you're up a piece. So like, if this is played, you take, now you're up a whole piece, a minor piece. If you take here, then you can actually play rook takes g3. Now you're attacking the h3 pawn, and you're attacking the b3 pawn. You have two connected passed pawns. Black is winning, even though he's down in exchange. His pawns and his active rook outweigh the exchange down. So, oops, sorry about that. Let me do this. So rook takes e. So this is the main line that happened. And rook takes g3, like what we talked about. The exchange sack is more than promising for black. It's winning. Now Magnus just has to find the correct line, and rook c5 for his opponent. Magnus grabs a whole another pawn. This bishop guards the critical c6 square, so there's no more checks. Black doesn't have to worry, and he can just start gobbling up the pawns, and 3 pawns is more than enough pass pawns to handle a rook. So rook takes a5. Now, hooray, white finally has 2 connected passers, but Magnus goes, not anymore. Kaboom, he grabs one. So now he's got, for the exchange, he's got 2 pawns and a bishop for the being exchanged down. These are all passers. You gotta love passers. Rook a6 check. King d5. a5 check. King d4. He's just managed to just bring his king closer in. a4 check. King d3. And rook h2. f4. Hold on, let me make sure I have this. Did I do all the lines? Oh, f4, rook takes h4. King e3. And amazingly, this actually threatens mate. Surprisingly, this threatens checkmate. That's incredible. Spotting that. Rook b4 is forced here. And Magnus doesn't mind because his pawn is actually faster than his opponent's pawn, and there's really no way to stop it. Rook h1. And his opponent actually resigned here at this point because there's no real way to stop. The game ended here, so I'll make it better for black, and I'll show you some lines that could arise if the rook tried. F2. If the rook tried there, the bishop could actually play f1 or f3, or actually maybe better would be bishop f3. Sorry, that was d3. Bishop f3. If the rook comes there, then you just bring the king up, and so now it's. And if he comes up here, you just bring the king up. So there's really no way of winning. Winning for white. So do you have any questions before I log off for the night on the end game? Yeah, I thought it was a great game too. Okay. I wanted to thank you all for logging on, participating. And we are on every night. I try to, so if you want to join for more survival, tactic stuff that we do, I do it at the beginning of the podcast. I'm on around like 7 p.m. Oops, ouch, PST. And so, wow, I had a bug run into me. That's weird. I haven't had that before. But so what we have to remember though is just have fun in chess. And I like what Bruce Lee said, that you have to study in one area for a while because he said he didn't fear the person who practiced 10,000 individual kicks. He feared the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. So if we, like, if you have an opening that you really like for white or for black, just practice that. Just practice that and hone that. And then eventually, when you get that mastered, then you can switch to a new one because, like, it's like what Bruce Lee says, you've mastered that kick or you mastered that opening, and you will then be ready to move on to the next opening. And just be patient with yourself because the Lord Jesus has given us a great mind, but you do have to build it up. Like anything, if you're wanting to improve in like weightlifting or just exercising in general, you can't run a marathon in the first day. You can build up for it, and then when the marathon comes, you'll be ready. And that's the same thing like when you're getting ready for a tournament, maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 months. Get ready now. Build up your endurance for like finding tactics, longer studies, and just working as more as a due diligence as you can, and you'll see an improvement in your over the board. And don't forget to work over the board too, because it does really help with your play. Because yeah, like a couple months before I do tournaments, I usually do a lot of over the board to get used to taking the ideas that I have and putting them on a 3D board, because it's different than a 2D screen. You have to be able to do both, and so I use both. Uh, so what we have to also remember is that Bruce Lee said one more thing, and then I'll let you go on this. It's this, that there are plateaus, but there's no limit to the human potential. So you have an infinite potential. Your mind is amazing. Our minds are amazing creation of the Lord, and we just have to work them and build them and make them more efficient. And that just comes with time. So be patient with yourself again. And I'll leave you with that. And as Wesley So says, Sir Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. And I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And we'll keep pushing forward. Remember, the Chess Cruncher motto is: we hang up our coats, we hang up our hats, we sit down and study when most won't. Team Chess Cruncher does, and that makes all the difference. And remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Because you could have a really good opening, but it's not. Can you get to that end game and win the end game? And I always think of on the seals. They say that when they were talking about the evolutions or the next courses they have to go down, it's the only easy day was yesterday. And it pays to. They say it pays to be a winner, because when you win, you're pushing yourself and you're training yourself to. A winner in like studies would be, doing maybe an extra minute or two. You think, I can't do an extra minute or two, and you just do that every day. You do that extra minute, and eventually you'll be like, I could do another extra minute. And you know what? I'm here to help, motivate you to keep pushing forward, because that's what Hannibal Smith always said about forcing moves. If you watch the A Team, the new one and the older one, that he said that forcing moves, his idea was there's a plan in every situation, there's no randomness. But in chess, the forcing moves, there's forcing moves which win you material. So just remember that we consider our plans like forcing moves. And you know what? Just have fun. Remember to honor the Lord Jesus with your gifts. Receive Him as Lord and Savior. And 2 thumbs up. Hoorah! Be blessed and have fun. That's the whole thing. And I will see you tomorrow. be blessed, and come back. And if you like what you see, you can always follow. And you can go to the studies that we have on, just type in business law on LIChess or Lichess, and go over what we already went over, look at it, and then keep improving. Hoorah, be blessed, and 2 thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.